Tonight on Global TV News Prime, Tinubu directs immediate comprehensive overhaul of national security strategies. In business, Minister says government working to bridge housing deficits. On the foreign scene, Europe moves against Russia, rolls out critical policies on global energy. In sports, Amusho Ofili leads Nigeria's charge to 2025 World Games. Hello and a very warm welcome to all of our viewers across the world, and thank you for joining us here on Global Television News Prime. I am Uyi Agmofegbe, reminding all of our viewers that we are on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes 276. You can download Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our 247 broadcast. Tonight, let's begin by telling you President Bola Tinubu has directed an immediate and comprehensive overhaul of national security strategies, demanding urgent action to end the escalating violence in Borno, Benue, Plateau, and Kwara states. Defense correspondent Kikelamo Okere has details.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who met with the security chiefs at the State House in Abuja for more than 2 hours, says the killings of innocent people in Borno, Benue, and Plateau states must cease. The president, who spoke through the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, condemned the senseless targeting of innocent Nigerians. He therefore ordered a new approach to tackling the security problems.
Some of the challenges are more or less bordering on community problems. Not entirely everything is that, but of course it plays a significant role. You need to work with the communities, you need to work with the local governments, you need to work with the governors, especially the governors. President continue to direct that we should be doing that, and that's what we are able to. And we are very happy, very satisfied with the instructions and the directives given by Mr. President. He is so worried and concerned. He insisted that enough is enough, and we are working and to ensure that we restore peace and security.
The NSA says the attacker usually gets innocent citizens by planting improvised explosive device. He added that the president highlighted the need to involve the local councils and state government in tackling insecurity cases.
Mr. President is insisting and working so hard to ensure that we have peace, security, and stability in our country. We gave him what is going on, and we also assured him that work is ongoing and continuous.
The issue of insecurity often is not just at higher level, it involves subunits. The federal government reiterated its commitment in restoring peace and security in the country. Kikelamo Okere, Global Television News.
Thank you, Kikelamo. Vice President Kashif Shettima is presiding over the 149th meeting of the National Economic Council at the State House, Abuja. The meeting, which has the River State sole administrator, Vice Admiral Ibot Ekwe Ibas, retired in attendance, is the first since President Bola Tinubu declared emergency rule in the oil-rich states. The last meeting of the council held on February 20, during which the Nutrition 774 initiative was launched to combat malnutrition nationwide. The Benue State's Executive Council has approved the sum of 2.3 billion naira for the remodeling of the government secondary school in Ilu community for the immediate takeoff of the Benue State University of Agriculture, Science and Technology. Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism, Matthew Abo, disclosed these while briefing newsmen on the outcome of the council meeting. Felicity Indere was there for Global TV.
It will be recalled that Benue State Executive Council had earlier ratified the proposal for the establishment of the Benue State University of Agriculture, Science and Technology (EU) with the mandate on the relevant stakeholders to liaise with the National Universities Commission and the State House of Assembly for procurement processes. Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism Matthew Abu said the sum of 2.3 billion will be used for remodeling of the government secondary school (EU) for immediate take-off of the institution.
We have approved the award of contract to the tune of 2,356,000,000 551 naira only. So this is the amount of money that we are going to use to do remodel government secondary school and do preliminary things in that school so that the university will now take off.
He explained that the establishment of government-owned tertiary institution in the Benue Northeast will ensure a balance with other zones of the state. In Makudi, Felicity Ndere, Global TV News.
Thank you, Felicity. Governor Hope Uzodinma has announced a bold digital agenda for Imo State aimed at boosting connectivity, innovation, and public service delivery. The announcement came at the 4th Artificial Intelligence and Robotics Summit of the Nigeria Computer Society held in Owerri, the state capital.
The summit brought together experts, tech investors, and policymakers to explore how AI and robotics can drive inclusive economic growth. Speaking at the event, Governor Hope Uzodinma says Imo is bridging the digital divide with the deployment of 5G broadband and a statewide fiber optic network covering all 27 local government areas. He emphasized that the project will provide equal digital access across urban and rural communities.
Rolling out extensive fiber optic infrastructure and 5G broadband access across all local government areas in the state. This becomes very necessary because of our intention to close the digital divide between the urban and the rural communities.
Governor also announced a first-of-its-kind partnership between Imo State and the United States Market Access Center in Silicon Valley. The deal will establish innovation labs and offer mentorship to young tech entrepreneurs across the state.
The Imo Digital City is our flagship infrastructure project, a dedicated technology hub supported by a landmark $15 million partnership with the United States Market Access Center (USMAC) in Silicon Valley.
In his opening remarks, the president of Nigeria Computer Society, Dr. Mohammed Aliyu, says the summit is designed to promote digital transformation through knowledge exchange and collaboration.
Our aim is to provide a platform for stakeholders to explore the latest trend, innovation, and best practice in AI and robotics, with focus on strategies to drive socio-economic advancement and fostering digital inclusion.
From next-generation broadband to global tech collaborations, Imo State is building the future today. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Let's turn to other stories for you tonight. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has summoned the chairman of the FCT area councils and the leadership of the Nigerian Union of Teachers FCT wing for a meeting. The meeting is aimed at finding lasting solutions to the prolonged strike by primary school teachers over unresolved welfare issues. Minister of Housing and Urban Development Ahmed Dangiwa says President Bola Tinubu's administration is working very hard to bridge the housing deficit in the country and make housing available to Nigerians at affordable prices. He gave the assurance while speaking as a special guest at the South-South Annual General Meeting of the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, REDAN, held in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, noting that the federal government had initiated a federal housing program called the Renewed Hope Housing Scheme. Chairman and Chief Executive of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, has reiterated the agency's call for mandatory drug tests for core members, describing the initiative as a preventive, not punitive gesture Speaking during a courtesy visit by the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Olakule Nafiu, to the agency's headquarters in Abuja, Marwa emphasized the urgent need to curb drug abuse among young Nigerians. The founder of the Tubaba Foundation and renowned recording artist Innocent Idibia, popularly known as Two-Face, has announced plans to support internally displaced persons and other vulnerable groups in communities across Benue State. Idibia revealed this during a courtesy visit to Governor Hyacinth earlier at the government house in Mercodi. Again, here is Felicity in Derry's report.
Innocent Idibia, known popularly as Two-Face, is a goodwill ambassador to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. In this role, he advocates for the rights of internally displaced persons, refugees, and other vulnerable groups, working in a collaboration with the government and international donors. The gesture being extended to the states by the Tubaba Foundation is an expression of his second face, a hand of fellowship to the needy in society.
For me, it's sad. We're going to do everything that we can to support the people that have been affected, and also to keep hammering and keep clamoring for support from the federal government to all well-meaning Nigerians as well, to lend their voices and lend their resources to help to prevent such things from continuing.
Head of Communications of the Foundation, Raymond Ocheni, outlines areas of intervention.
He has established this foundation for a long time. Even though the campaign then was vote not fight, he believed that good governance will bring everything we need to love ourselves. But this new face that he's turning 50 allows him to now do things like to visit vulnerable communities, support them with health, infrastructure or amenities, provide water, ensuring proper sanitation where necessary, visit schools, see how he can support public schools, see how he can even support with providing things like books, even school fees at some extent.
Governor Hyacinth earlier expressed appreciation for the initiative, noting that these vulnerable groups have endured trauma on multiple levels and any efforts to improve their conditions will make a meaningful impact.
With the wave and the new face of this insecurity, you know, mercenaries just coming in the front lines and then killing at people, we also need to up our strategy and our protective gear for the people.
In a related development, Governor Alia also pronounced the appointment of Innocent Idibia as a technical advisor on entertainment and community outreach. At the government house in Makurdi, Felicity Ndere reporting for Global TV News.
This is Global Television. You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime with Uyi Agmofwebe. When the rest of the news returns shortly, Amusho Ofili lead Nigeria's charge to 2025 World Relays. Details coming shortly, plus business and, of course, foreign stories on the other side of this break. Do stay with us.
Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television. That Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world.
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Well, thank you so very much for staying with us, everyone. The second part of this broadcast now returns with business, where Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, has assured investors that Nigeria is safe for investment. Edun stated this during the Nigeria Investment Forum at the ongoing World Bank International Monetary Fund meetings in Washington, D.C., United States. On the foreign scene, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says he has spoken with President Donald Trump about the conflict in Ukraine, noting that they plan to meet soon.
I had an opportunity to speak to President Trump yesterday, or this morning rather, to discuss the peace process in Ukraine. We both agreed that the war should be brought to an end as soon as possible to prevent further death and destruction. President Trump and I also agreed to meet soon to address the various other matters regarding our relations between South Africa and the United States. We both spoke about the need to foster good relations between our two countries.
President Ramaphosa praised Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during his first visit to South Africa for agreeing to an unconditional ceasefire in the war with Russia to pave the way for peace talks. A coalition of 12 American states has filed a lawsuit to challenge the Trump administration's tariffs, saying the president cannot institute the levies without the approval of Congress. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mears says that President Trump's tariff scheme is not only economically reckless, but illegal. France's President Emmanuel Macron says his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, needs to, quote, stop lying, unquote, over wanting peace in Ukraine while continuing to strike the country. He accused the Russian leader of telling U.S. negotiators he wants peace but continues to bombard Ukraine. Let's cross over to Asia, where Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has vowed to push all those responsible for a gruesome attack in Kashmir that killed 26 men. The shooting in the tourist hotspot of the Faliam was the deadliest attack on civilians in the contested Muslim-majority territory in 25 years. An international summit on the future of energy security has opened in London, the United Kingdom, with stark opposition from Washington, which called policies to phase out fossil fuels harmful and dangerous. Profound differences emerged at the two-day International Energy Agency meeting over the role of renewables in satisfying the world's thirst for energy.
The meeting is happening amid global economic turmoil sparked by wars in Ukraine and the Middle East, as well as uncertainty surrounding U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs. For British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, this is a pivotal moment to sound decisive and send a strong message to Russia.
Energy security is national security, and it is therefore a fundamental duty of government. And I'm very clear, we can't deliver that by defending the status quo. Europe must never again be in a position where Russia thinks that they can blackmail us on energy. And until Russia comes to the table and agrees a full and unconditional ceasefire, we must continue to crack down on their energy revenues, which are still fueling Putin's war chest.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen puts infrastructure and interconnectivity at the very heart of global energy security, pledging that the bloc will next month, quotes, present a roadmap with concrete measures to phase out all imports of Russian fossil fuels, unquote.
We need to build grids, interconnectors and cables. We need to connect our countries and diversify our energy supplies. And that is what we are, for example, doing with the ELMEC connection between Italy and Tunisia. It will be the very first direct current connection between Europe and Africa. We need, of course, to work together to protect infrastructure.
Uyi Agmofwebe, reporting for Global TV News.
Well, time to turn to sports now, where so much of excitement awaits. The Nigeria Premier Football League has slammed El Kanami Warriors with a 3.5 million naira fine following crowd trouble during their March Day 34 clash against Ikorodu City Maiduguri. The league also ordered their stadium closed to fans for the rest of the season. This comes after El Kanami Warriors supporters were found guilty of vandalizing the visiting team's vehicle and throwing objects onto the pitch during the match, describing these actions as grave breaches of its code of conduct. Team Nigeria has confirmed participation in 4 events at the 2025 World Athletics Relays scheduled to take place in Guangzhou, China, starting May 10 to 11. The Athletics Federation of Nigeria has announced on Instagram that the country's contingent will compete in the men's 4x100 meters, women's 4x100 meters, 4x100 meters mixed relay, and the newly introduced 4x100 meters mixed relay, making up 4 of the 6 events on the program. Let the show begin. And now let's end tonight's news broadcast with a recap of some of our big stories. President Bola Tinubu has directed an immediate and comprehensive overhaul of national security strategies, demanding urgent action to end the escalating violence in Borno, Benue, Plateau, and Kwara states. In business, Minister of Housing and Urban Development Ahmed Dangiwa says President Bola Tinubu's administration is working very hard to bridge the housing deficits in the country and make housing available to Nigerians at affordable prices. Beyond our shores, we told you an international summit on the future of energy security has opened in London with stark opposition from Washington, which called policies to phase out fossil fuels harmful and dangerous. In sports, Team Nigeria has confirmed participation in 4 events at the 2025 World Athletics Relays scheduled to take place in Guangzhou, China from May 10 to 11. And that's all we have for you tonight on Global Television News Prime. A quick reminder that we are on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. Don't forget to follow us across all social media platforms using the handle at Global TV NG, as well as others, as you now see on your screen. And finally, we have an app that is available across the different applications, including Android and iOS devices, the Global TV Nigeria mobile app. On behalf of my colleagues who have made tonight's news broadcast possible, I'm Uyi Agumofugbe saying we appreciate you for your time with us. We will see you again